You're tuned into the show
that informs, improves, and inspires racers everywhere.
The Northwest Race Report. The Northwest Race Report, brought to you in part by True Tech Automotive, Vancouver, Washington, home of the In the Family Racer Discount, and by Scott Seal Coat and Striping. For over 25 years, whether it's sealing or striping, you can count on Scott. And by Product41.com. The Northwest Race Report is heard exclusively at TerryBridgesRacing.com. And now back to your horsepower and performance hosts, Terry Bridges, Glenn Tower, and Jeff Eden. Oh, what is going on, racers? Welcome to another edition of the Northwest Race Report. I'm your horsepower and performance host, Terry Bridges. In the house with me tonight, my main guys, man. Couldn't do it without him. Mr. Glenn Lippy Tower. What's going on, Lip?
It's all good in the hood tonight.
And how many days?
28 working days. 5 weeks, 1 day.
Woo.
And how many Fridays?
That would be 6.
The Loader, Mr. Jeff Eden. What's going on, Loader?
Just counting them down.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
But
sir.
I'm also counting down to racing. I'm more itchy for the racing.
Of course. I can't wait for Late Model Monday to start rolling around.
We're getting close. I see we're the Super Oval's got 30 cars now for the first race.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that'd be a great show. I might make my way over there.
You might. So we got a great show for you tonight. Tonight, as Chassis Month continues, Jason Lindgren from Legend Chassis, the two-stroke division, is going to be our Blue Line Graphics in the seat guest tonight. Looking forward to chatting with Jason. The rest of the show, we've got some results from, we've got the American Muscle Cart Excellence Awards, and we've also got results from the Salem Speedway finale. We got some from Bakersfield and Delta Speedway. Do you know where Delta Speedway is?
No.
No, sir.
It's pretty new, I think, because I've never seen it on Strepfest Promotions. By the way, Matt Strebe, the official stat guy for the Northwest Race Report, we appreciate everything that he does.
For sure.
For us. And so, that being said, how's your week been?
Mine's been good, busy and more busy, so, yeah.
How's yours? It's been slow.
The loader's been slow?
The loader's been slow. We're slow at work right now. We've got in between jobs, so.
Right.
It's like today I left at 1 o'clock.
Oh, you did?
Nice.
So if they called you back now at like 3, would you have to go back?
If they want somebody who's already been at the tavern.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, you know, Lippy and I went a Saturday night to the Elma Hall of Fame ceremony, and it was pretty cool.
It was pretty cool.
It was pretty cool.
It was pretty cool.
They had their keynote speaker was an outstanding wheelman. Been around a long time, Jimmy Sills.
God, I remember when he brought that 2-seater to Elma. The line was so far back there to get a ride in that. The races are over, and Sills is still out there making laps.
Was he really?
Yeah, the race. They're getting ready to turn the lights out. He's still out there making laps.
Well, he was a great keynote speaker. I mean, he didn't. I thought he would be more talking about the sport maybe and that type of thing, but no, he basically told different stories of times where he was in Elma or up here in the Northwest, and it was kind of cool.
It was very cool. He was a good speaker, I thought.
I like the one where the left turn signal didn't work. Or what was? How did that go? They had to wake the guy up. Hey, we're making a left turn, and I don't know. I can't. Was it the turn signal or something? It took 2 hands to turn the wheel.
That's because the power steering was out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I can't remember why the power steering was out. Either the pump went out or they lost a belt or something. And so, yeah, I think it took 2 people to turn the wheel. So he had to wake the guy up next to him so that he could pull on the bottom and the guy next to him could pull on the top of the wheel to make it around the corner in this big truck they were driving with all their gear in the back.
And he says the guy was snoozing, so he'd elbow him and say, hey, we got a left coming up. Oh, okay, let me get up. Away we go. It was actually really cool, but super nice guy.
Yeah.
Got my picture taken with him. That was really cool. I mean, he was just a jewel of a guy. Super cool.
And I don't know if he was the one that was down at Willamette. There's been a couple guys that come out with 2-seaters, but they had an older lady in there, like in her 70s, and he hooked a rut and flipped the car down the front straightaway with the passenger in it.
Oh, my
I don't
goodness.
know if that was him or the other guy that was doing the 2-seater, and she just wanted to know when she got to finish her ride. It was only the first lap.
That's crazy cool. Yeah, so it was a really, really great awards ceremony. We had a few glitches, hiccups in the giddy up, I guess, but we got through it. I'm sure it wasn't what I was anticipating, but still, nonetheless, we got through it. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed it that listened to it. There were some little glitches here and there, but again, we got through it.
It's what happens when
Was that Delta Speedway you said?
Yes.
When you pick up and move the studio to someplace else, you have those glitches. So
Yeah, but it was cool. They had Wi-Fi there. They had some good food. Lots of great people there.
Yeah, for sure. There was good grub.
Got to see
Schmitz?
Yes, got to see the Schmitz, that clan, and Sean Holbert from Sean in the Dirt was with us.
Yep.
Hanging out. He did a great job kind of keeping everything rolling. He and Lippy interviewed some guys. You got to talk to Glenn Borden and Rick Lady, and it was just
Rick's quite a guy, isn't he?
He's a good guy, really good guy.
Definitely.
I mean, that whole thing's his passion.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
George Wade was there.
Yep.
There were several big-name people there that helped get this thing rolling. And, hey, it was the 10th anniversary.
Yeah.
So, I mean, something's working for sure.
It's just nice to see an industry like that does that for their people, you know. I mean, there ain't nothing in karting like that.
Well,
and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, they've been having issues finding places big enough to have it.
Yeah, that's why they said they were theirs, because the last 2 places they outgrew. People were standing outside, hooting and hollering and looking through the window.
Yeah, and that was we were at the year that Chris's buddy got in there, and Dale had been out. Dale raced there for years and had cars for years, and they got, when he was in there, it was literally there was standing room only. We got there, and he'd saved me a seat, and I mean, we were just sandwiched in, and there was people standing all the way around it, and that was at the VFW Hall.
wow. Yeah, it was a great turnout, and the place looked like $1 million. I mean, they had folded tables, but they had all the nice silverware. I didn't see what they all had for food. I know they had a barbecue earlier, and we got some of the barbecue, which was really good, and potato salad and all that stuff. So it was kind of a homegrown kind of deal, I think. You know, it was super, super nice. I don't know what it cost to get in. I didn't see that, but
I paid $5 to get through the door.
Oh, you shouldn't have had to.
No, I walked past it, and then I turned around and went back, and
It's
you know,
just, you know,
I drank my fair share of liquid and ate my share of food. So
Okay,
I was good with $5.
Yeah,
sure.
that's cool.
The cookies alone I got were.
Well, you know, on the way there, I drove right past it. I was bebopping along, you know, going, hey, oh, yeah, boom, going, you know, here I go, boom. And I'm thinking, wait a minute.
About the Ford
This
dealership?
this looks like I'm past it, maybe. So I get out my phone, I hit the maps, and I go, oh, crap. I'm way past it. So I had to turn around and get there. I got there about 4 o'clock, I think.
We got us a new young lady listening to us from California tonight named Destiny Carter.
Well, who is P1 tonight, Lip?
Tonight, P1 is Dan Watkins back in the seat again, closely followed by Ronnie Swires, checking in from Salt Lake City. Good to see that. He was a pleasure to have last week. Brent Meyer coming in on P3, Rusty Rossmeyer after that, Ernie Colfer, Brett Meyer again, Sean Halbert.
Ernie Colfer, all right.
And Kyle Colliver, Sean Carr, Mr. Kravitz in the house even a couple times. Strebe checking in. Good to see you, Strebe. Oh, look, there's the old boss.
B-Rush in the house. You said we got a new listener?
Mr.
Yes.
McDowell showing up. Brian
Destiny
Williams.
Carter, I've been following her on Facebook. She runs like one of the little 4-cylinder cars down in California.
Oh.
And she's a carter. And so she had... she keeps posting how many days are left, kind of like my retirement deal, to race day. So I put on there today, I said, I love your passion, And so she, thank you. And she gave me this week kind of hit back and forth. And I told her, listen to the show tonight. And she just messaged me and said she's listening.
Wow, that's awesome.
Good deal.
That's awesome. Well, I've got a little bit of news. It's kind of not racing news, but I put in an app for KAOS radio. I think Ruth might be listening tonight, but I don't know. She said she was. We've been going email, so I've got to go to an orientation. But it's a volunteer radio station there. But I put in for the on the air talent. I don't know what's to come of it or anything, but I'm gonna go take my orientation and see what happens. So
cool.
Very nice.
Kind of exciting there.
Yeah, Clark family checking in tonight. Mr. Squinny in the house. And Logan.
Negus.
Yeah.
Boy, Logan's a new listener.
He is of Legend Chassis.
Oh,
So,
sweet.
just a little bit we should hit on here before we get too far going.
Yep.
Bill Didion. So he's a California guy.
Yes.
And couple things this week. It's been rough for him. He was mounting a tire this last weekend, and the bead on the wheel split. So when it did, it ejected all the tire pressure and everything right up at him and his face, his hand. He ended up having to have a couple ambulance rides and a long stay in the hospital. He's still waiting to regain sight in his right eye from shrapnel hitting his face and his eye. He's probably going to end up having to have surgery on his hand. So he's in a bad way. He's out of the hospital now and he's recovering, but there's a lot that's been incurred because of this that happened to him. And it wasn't even his tire and wheel. He was just helping somebody out at, I believe, was a track, or he might have been at his garage because he kind of runs a kart shop / stuff for sale type of a deal. So yeah, he got really wrecked up on this, and
and that brings up a point of something that's often we take for granted is mounting tires. I mean, I know when I work at U-Haul part-time, and even when you're filling the air, it says right on the sticker not to, when you're filling it, you need to stand to the side of it and not directly over the top of it or in front of it. So that's kind of a crazy deal there. I mean, that's something that I think we all take for granted is mountain tires, and very rarely does it happen.
Yes.
But in this case, they tell you to use a band or do it in a cage or something, and none of us ever. We probably put way too much air in.
Well, I mean, and that's just how you mount them, and I go through, we have so many tires and wheels that, I've seen them where they crack right along the edge where the wheel comes out and meets the bead area, and if you come across them, you throw them away. Just don't even mess with them. It's a compromised area. It's very, very, very bad. Things can go sideways at 100 PSI that you just don't even want to imagine. And that's what happened to Bill. And he's in a bad way because of it. A lot of cost has been incurred to him. So a friend of his named Chris Verda out of California down there also is put together a way we can all help him out. So if you're on Facebook, look up Chris. You can find his link to it. And here's the whole thing. Bill just got his dad out of the hospital who had some health issues and everything, got him home, and he didn't make it 2 days and his dad passed. So not only that, he ended up in the hospital. All this bad stuff happened. Now his dad's passed. So this guy has really just had a rough week. So, if nothing, put some prayers out there. If you can help, either look up Bill, you'll find it on his Facebook page, or look up Chris Verde and help these people out. They're Carters, they're good people, and some bad stuff and some freak stuff has happened. So, look it up and see what you can do, folks.
Absolutely.
And the young lady, Destiny, she just messaged me right there. Says, thanks for mentioning Didion, as he is one that keeps my cart on the track.
He helps a lot of people.
He does help a lot of people. Oh, look at the Rocket's here.
Nice.
Yeah, he's here because he don't want to get fined.
Yeah. Believe me, tires are. Mounting tires is something we take for granted. I know. I certainly have.
But you look at how many this year have. Like the one guy with the sprint car when that bead lock busted. Oh my God! It leaves an imprint in your leg of the bead lock.
Yeah.
And he's still not racing.
I remember JJ. Remember he was mounting one and one blew up. It knocked him cold. He said he woke up and the dog was licking his face. Trying to wake him up. So it's all stuff that it's unfortunate, Lip, that it takes something like this in order for us to recognize that, we just kind of, nothing really happens, so we just kind of go through the motions. And
yeah, we're not invincible.
Yeah, mountain tires is a dangerous deal, so don't take it too lightly, especially because as many as we're mounting now with the prep and all this stuff, I don't know. It's
Delta is a mini sprint track in Stockton, California.
Nice.
Oh. That's where they race speedway carts there for the first time a few weeks ago.
Sweet.
That came from Mr. Strebe.
Well, we need to get into that right now.
Thank you, Strebe.
It's time for Winner's Circle Wednesday, brought to you by Tees and Tops.
Well, the finale at Salem.
Oh, let's get into that.
Yes. It looks like they had a fairly good turnout.
Good.
UAS, we'll start with that. Sean Carr made it. That's a good thing. Dan Kravitz was your winner, and he is the champ.
The season champ. Yes,
yes.
he is.
So congratulations to the Kravitron. That's a pretty big feat first year. I don't care how many guys are in the class. That's still a very big deal.
Persistence pays off.
Absolutely. The only unfortunate thing is there was only like two that finished the main, because I know Jeremy Brown was third, but he didn't finish. So it went Kravitz, Rambo, Steve Rambo, Jeremy Brown, Larry Fuller, and Sean Carr. So I don't know. Sean, I think, had issues again.
One said didn't start. So
did you see the picture of his cart, though? Boy, was that thing gorgeous.
Beautiful.
Unbelievably nice. Just a showpiece. 206 heavy. Kellen Dean, who hit the arrive and drive of Product 41 and basically was just a sold asphalt guy. His dad says that's all he talks about is the dirt now. He loves it. And so that's really cool. But the guy that wins it is Brandon Rutledge.
Good for Brandon.
Yes, indeed it is. What a good way to close out his season. He had an up and down winner, but great stuff for Brandon Rutledge. Kellen Dean second, Corey Markham third, Brian Green fourth, Greg Norman in fifth. That's a squad right there.
But, I think that
I know
Product 41, with what they have brought out, that's the kind of thing that I think Ronnie's actually striving for, to get one of them guys to come over and say, hey, look, it's just going to broaden your horizons and your scope and everything else. And
well, everybody says, dirt isn't my favorite. It doesn't have to be. It's just something to do in the winter to keep you in the seat, keep you turning the wheel. Yeah.
Seat time.
Yeah, these guys don't get it. 206 Light, Corey Markham, Renee Angel. I don't know what that was. Oh, it was my letter.
Here's your W.
Renee Angel, Steve Rambo, Michael Vickers, and Lori Fuller. Michael Vickers takes the title in 206 Light. This one was the doozy. KT Heavy.
Ooh, and what happened before KT? There was a parade lap that happened.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, so there was a parade lap that happened before the KT series went out there, and it was Phil Fowl in the middle carrying.
Oh,
the
was that
checkered flag.
before or after? I saw the video. Was it before the?
I thought it was before what the KT, because I think it happened early in the day. But Jeremy Brown and Kravitz were out there on either side of him, and then they took the parade lap with him, and
Yeah, because this was his.
that was the last race. I hear.
He's not totally giving up his helmet, but that's probably going to be it for Salem or whatnot. I know because he said he's planning on running the big show down at Medford.
Oh, good.
There, but yeah, cool stuff there. That was a neat deal. But Fowl wins it.
Yep.
In a backup cart because his other one got bent in his brush with the wall there. Brandon Day was second. Mike Michelson in the Waldorado was third. Carissa Prue and Josh Woods.
It was after the win.
Okay.
So that's a cool deal. Mm-hmm. Yeah, congratulations to old Fowie.
And that's cool what they did with him, too.
It is cool. I mean, that's a couple guys that he's trained pretty much from the gate. KT Light, must have been interesting, too. Melissa Eicher wins it, but Bailey Jean Suchich was second.
Oh,
yeah.
Forth,
and the war continues. Shane Dolan was third. Fart Carts, Kyle Maynor wins it. Kyler Culver. Brent Meyer was third. And Austin Henderson fourth. Wow. So that tells you those guys were rolling if Henderson was fourth because he's pretty much owned that deal. Super Sport went to Ty Easton. Wade Big Daddy Bauman second. Mark Wooten third. Dave Wooten fourth. Brianna Fuller takes the junior UAS. Raptors went to Jonas White. Now this was the Shamrock event for the Strebe Speedway Raptors. This is race number 2 for them, I think. Jonas White, Matt Strebe, Michael Strebe, Kevin White, Steve Tastad, and then it was Jim Strebe. So, pretty good little turnout for the Raptors.
Yeah, definitely.
Junior 2, Brendan Gregg, Kid Cart, Preston Finch. Good year for Salem, I thought.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it got a little sluggish taking off, but after that, I think it was, all in all, it was definitely a good year. I'm glad that Brandon Day, won the KT deal.
Oh, he did hang on to win it?
Yep. That's what Brett Meyer just sent me was that Brandon won it, and that's deserved. Him and Markham are both outstanding drivers. Outstanding drivers. They both deserve whatever they get. They get good stuff.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and I mean it may have been different had Fowl not have wrecked in that one prior. Mm-hmm. That was the one that did him in. Delta Speedway. They had clones there. There was only one class there, so that's the only one I got anyway. Don Heiser, Raleigh Rodriguez in second. Al Garoso Jr., Anthony Silva, Jeremy Hannon, and Derek Wallace was 10th in that event, so he was there. Bakersfield, they had the stock class, Riley Millard, Dale Millard, and Brady Heron. Your top 3. And in the opens, it was Mike Stewart, Riley Millard, and Trenton Millard. So the Millard family cleaning up kind of down at Bakersfield.
Got Mr. Craig Collins in the house.
Oh,
yeah.
Double C, baby. Now there's a wheelman for you.
Mr. Rutledge checking in, too.
Brandon Rutledge. Congratulations, Brandon. That's good stuff on that W.
And Mr. Rushing.
Yes, Brian Rushing. So yeah, that's all we got in the way of. I mean, I'm sure there's more. I'm sure there's some UAS events going on. I'd like to get some of those, and I'm gonna send out some emails to see if I can't get them to start sending us some stuff. But speaking of the Excellence Awards, American Muscle Cart. We never did go over this. I just saw this here not too long ago, but. Oh, boy.
Is that our guy coming in early?
Yeah, he's early. Hey, what is going on?
Good evening, guys.
your favorite drivers, and people of interest in the motorsports world. It's time for In the Seat, powered by Blue Line Graphics. Well, our guest tonight, he is from Legend Chassis, the two-cycle division, and his name is Jason Lindgren. Jason, welcome to the show, buddy.
Hey, good evening, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for making the time. I'm going to turn this over to Lip because he's been kind of the one taking care of business on this stuff. So, Lip, I'm going to turn over to you.
No problem. Thanks, Jason, for checking in with us. We really appreciate it. Why don't you start off with telling us a little bit about yourself and how long you've been into the kart racing or racing in general?
Yeah, you bet. So I've been around the sport for a little while. I've been around racing for 33 years. Most of my racing's been in the karting business, but I did spend a couple years working on a midget and a sprint car team. And, you know, I'm a racer by evening. I have a professional career in the day where I head up a IT team for a medium-sized manufacturing company. And a little bit of my background, I graduated with an engineering degree, so that never hurts when you're working on this stuff and trying to make it better. And you know, I've had a little bit of success over the years. So in 33 years, we've posted 27 national championships.
Nice. That's a good feather in the cap for sure.
You bet.
So, and you also, despite being the engineer guy for the HP or the, I just drew a blank on that right there, chassis, you know, you also run a kart shop.
I do, absolutely.
And, you know, it's a little bit different than your average kart shop. I mean, you because you have a regular career and a regular job, you know, you're not as focused to, of course, you want to make money, but that's not the whole focus of it. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that before we get into the chassis?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you said, it's not really your traditional kart shop. It's I focus on a smaller clientele. It allows me to give a little bit more of that personal touch. So like you said, it's a passion of mine. You know, I've been around racing for a long time. I like to see people learn, get in the sport, help them out. You know, making a little money never hurts, but it's not what puts food on the table for me. So, you know, we you know, basically I have three focus areas of the karting shop. You know, we sell some karts and parts. We work on tires. I mean, listen to the show tonight and in the past, you know, tires is a big deal in this business.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also provide some consulting services. So I spent quite a few years standing trackside over some young gentlemen at the national level events, helping them achieve their goals and win some national level titles as well.
Nice. And that's something that's really, you know, not part of, you know, the traditional shops. I mean, they will help you out with setup information and, you know, my cart is doing this and my cart is doing that, but it really doesn't get into the meat and potatoes of things when it's not the cart that's having the problem, it's a driver that's having the problem. And I've only met a couple other. Last week we had Ronnie Swires in-house, who is Product 41 and runs in our area, and that's what he does too, is you know, the consulting portion of it, but basically that you and analyze the driver and then give feedback on that. Isn't that part of your service as well?
It is, absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, I'll spend time with the driver and talk to them about driving techniques, you know, little things that, you know, younger drivers take for granted that they don't know yet. So they tend to drive off their front nose piece and run into wrecks in the corners, you know, making sure they scan the track properly and doing all the fundamentals that you need to do as a driver. And, you know, I'll walk the track with them, teach them some things to look for before they get on the track, you know, around, you know, what the track's doing, if there's dust line, if there's, you know, better lines to race. But in addition to the driving stuff, you know, I spent a lot of time working on how to prepare for a race. So a lot of teams, you know, as you guys that have been around racing a long time know that what you do trackside is important, but, you know, what you do in the shop is even more important. Shop time wins races. So, you know, I'll spend a lot of time on the phone or, you know, driving to somebody's shop and helping them get ready for the show, and then assist at the show as well.
And that's really the next step above what most kart shops are, and I think that's one of the things that sets you apart from everybody else, and well deserved is, you know, and that's not something that is easily to obtain that kind of information. There's people that have been doing this for years that can't pick that stuff up. So that just goes to show, your mindset and part of, what makes an engineer. You're always analyzing everything. And so that's, I think, one of the things that makes you so much better than the average person out there. But enough about you. Let's
you bet.
Let's dive into the M5 HPs. And just to go back a little bit, before you were involved with this chassis, you were an integral part of Buller. Is that true?
That is absolutely true. So, I've been involved with Bullers prior to getting involved with Legend. And, I'd have to say that the Buller family, Kermit, Mary, Chris, and Matt, those guys were phenomenal to me over the years. And, they did a great job building this go-kart early on that was focused on two-cycle racing, because that was really your higher horsepower venue at the time, and that was very popular. And so really how this came about is when Bowlers hung it up and said, hey, we're going to just focus on clutches and some other things that they offer today, but we're not going to build chassis anymore. I spent some time riding some other go-karts and trying to find something that really fit my need, and I struggled there a little bit, because as the four-cycle racers optimize their karts, it made it hard to get really that good forward bite that we look for in these high horsepower cars. And not only that, it took a long time to mock up and put a two-stroke or a higher horsepower four-stroke on one of these karts with the bigger brakes and the throttle stops and fuel tanks and wedge bodies and all the stuff that goes with it. So I decided, hey, if I'm going to spend all this time doing the bolt-on stuff, why not dive into the chassis and just build something that I want? So I considered a lot of options, and what I ended up doing is sitting down with Tom Rail and Joel Negus and had some conversations, told them what my ideas were, and we put together a partnership, and it's been a great one since then.
So you got started with Legend then, and the M3 back in 2012. Now, was that the first year of the big right tubes, and were you guys the first ones that implemented that, and how did that come about?
Yeah, so that was right about the time when I sat down and with Tom and we started mocking up some designs. We kind of threw a little bit of an odd concept at the car. It actually wasn't a real stiff big tube car. It was a little bit more of a soft chassis, and we started out with a pretty basic design in the M3 and spent some time testing. But where we've evolved to today is a little bit more of a hybrid car with some stuff that's a little bit you got about a handful of changes from the four-stroke car. You got some of the basic geometry the same, but there's some things there that you really need to work on to get that forward bite and that right side bite in the car with that higher horsepower. And the difference between a lot of four-cycle racers and two-stroke racers is most tracks we run on, you have to lift getting in the corner and get back down on the throttle, where the four-stroke karts can run wide open. So we worked on that pretty heavily. But I didn't get involved with the bigger right side frame rails at that time. That was more of a four-cycle effort.
Oh, really? Oh, interesting. So it came earlier then, because I was just thinking about that, and my Optima had a bigger right side rail on it. So
yep.
It did come in earlier than that then.
It did. Everything we've done so far has been the 1.25 inch car.
Gotcha. And so through the evolution of the M3, M4, and M5, without giving up any trade secrets, what are some of the stuff that has changed to evolve into what it is today? Did the wrist get narrower, the angle on the front end change? What changed to come to where we are today?
Yeah, good question. So one of the very first things that I sat down and said is, hey, you know what? Myself, I'm very particular about the way the car drives. I said, hey, I like to trail brake like crazy, and every time that we put the brake rotor on the left, the car acts funny in the center of the corner if you have to jab the brakes for something, or ride it a little bit harder. If you move it far to the right, it helps the car rotate a little better. And I know it's all about a static axle, but when you start looking at what the frame does around that and how it releases and resets, I said, hey, let's design a car that has center braking capabilities. There's not really anything on the market, and I want this bad. And We started with a middle bearing in the car, and learned pretty quickly that it was hard to design around no axle deflections. So we resolved that by taking the bearing out and just making a center mount brake rotor with no bearing in the center. So we've got that pretty well optimized, and then we went to work on really just the consistency of the tubing through the car and getting it really settled down. So our first release, the bite off the corner was just amazing. It was better than anything I'd been on, and we really nailed it. But where I wanted to improve is that entry speed. So on occasion on the M3, that cart would want to get a little bit heavy in the nose. So we built an M4 car, only put a couple of those in production. It was kind of pseudo prototyping / customer test units, if you will. So had some real close customers that were willing to take a chance, and we definitely learned some things not to do, to be honest. I mean, as with anything, when you start building something, you can find 5 things are bad before you find one that's really, really good. But, based off those findings, we found the sweet spot. So when we built that M5, which is our current car, this thing is awesome. We had a great year with it. We've had customers that had a great year with it. If you talk to a couple guys out there, you got a couple guys in your backyard that are riding them, and they had a great showing at the UAS Grand Nationals and some of the quarter point races for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I can think of 3 right off the top of my head: Rusty King and Joe Stackman, the Iron Man, and Wendell Fosdick. All 3 of them have got the M5s out here, and they all run very well with it. So
absolutely.
Hey, Jason, I got a question. Normally, across the back of the carts, you've got you just, because you said you put a center bearing in, you didn't like the deflection, but normally, like on a lot of carts, they'll have the one bearing on the left side and the left rear, and then they'll have 2 bearings on the right side, like right behind where the motor sits. But a lot of the times, the one center, or the one closest to the center, the inside bearing, they take it out. Is there a difference? I mean, does it matter if you have just 2 outside bearings versus if you, say, had the left rear one and then that one on the right side on the inside and left that outer bearing out? I mean, does that do anything crazy to the car?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So if you kind of look at some, and I'll answer this the best I can, it's a little different than our cart, but if you look at the dynamics of the chassis, really what you're after there is when that car goes through its natural rotation, so without a suspension, it has to actually release that left rear tire and rotate through the corner of the right side tires and sit back down. And when it goes through that, if that transfer from, with that body weight through that seat strut down to that right rear corner is a part of that. But then when you bind that axle up with those 2 bearings on that side, now if you're on pavement or something where you've got maybe a little softer axle and you get a little bit of natural deflection through the center between those 2 inner points, you're probably okay. But when you change that, you're changing the transfer location. So that would definitely be a big adjustment within the car, whether you had outside bearing or inside bearing.
Okay. Yeah, that I've always wondered that, because a lot of times they just take the inside one out and run with the 2 outside bearings, and so that
correct.
That answers a lot. Okay, great.
that is the most common way to run on dirt, but like he said, on asphalt, I think they tend to put them back in there with the thinner axles. Yeah, definitely.
Correct. Yep.
So what was the big difference, if any, of working with Tom as opposed to Joel?
Yeah, the thing, the relationship there is Joel, which has been around since the beginning of Legend. He's he's got a great fabrication shop. He's a master when it comes putting this material together. So, that's kind of how our relationship is now. I'll send off some design ideas and send them over to him, and he'll modify them and fab them up and send them back to me. And Tom had a tremendous amount of experience in kart design, among many other things. As if most of you know Tom, he was a motor builder. He did some chassis design. He was sharp on tires. He knew go-kart racing quite well. And so it never hurts to have a little extra brain power there. So when we sat down and bounced ideas, he and I kind of came up with that initial design based on, the ideas I had. He shared where the baseline of the car was, and we arrived at that final design. And then at that point, he kind of stepped out of the picture and said, "Hey, it's yours. Take it over and run." And that's kind of what I was looking for. And obviously, from the discussion last week, he's retired and doing some farming and off enjoying life at a little lower pace. So, but he's still always available if a guy needs to call him. So it's a good resource to have in your back pocket. But
that's what I was going to say. A good asset right there.
Absolutely. So Joel's still spot on. The thing that I appreciate with Joel is, all the carts we get, the quality of delivery is phenomenal. I cannot think of one situation where we had anything arrive in the shop that I had to call him and say, "Hey, this just doesn't fit. This doesn't look right. This doesn't measure right." Everything's been spot on.
Yeah, he definitely puts together some great stuff, and it's not all legend oriented. I know that so since Buller's been out of it, there's been people that have been looking for Buller spindles, and I know a friend of mine from up here sent a good set of Buller spindles back to him, and he actually made a jig from that and is now producing some of the Buller spindles to help out some of the people that are still don't have bent frames. So,
absolutely. He's good with that. And that you probably just highlighted something that makes it a little bit unique to what we do as well. So, you call some of the major cart manufacturers and they do an amazing job, but they produce, high volume equipment, and everything you get is exactly the same. One thing we can offer is, one of the customers you mentioned called me and said, "Hey, we want to order your cart, but we want the rear frame rails based on our wedge length, and we don't want to have to redesign our rear bumper. Can you add, 8, 12, 10 inches to that and deliver it that way?" And we can build custom, bars, bumpers, all the things that bolt on to spec, whatever you want to order, and we'll accommodate that. So that's something that's a little bit unique to us.
Wow, that's cool.
It is cool. And one of the other things that and this is around Tom's era, around 2008, 2007, my Optima 2008 Optima Plus that I own is one of 3 carts that were built, and the seat strut that goes across in front of the seat and the steering column attaches to actually floats on both outer rails, so it's not welded to them. It actually slides on both outer rails, which is one of only 3 out there. And this was built for some people back on the East Coast that had an idea, and they came to him and said, "Hey, we want to try this." And he did. I mean, and that's not something you would ever get any of the big manufacturers to do. They just don't have time for that kind of stuff. And that's, to me, what really sold me on the Legend stuff is, these guys are always willing to, like, "Hey, that sounds like something we want to try."
Absolutely.
When I got the cart and called back and was talking to him, and he told me that there was a cart that was produced a little bit before that had the right front where the main frame rail comes up to the girdle across the front and the spindle attaches to it. They actually had a slip joint there. Are you aware of that cart at all?
I'm not. That, again, like you said, that predates my involvement with Legend. I know a lot of their history, but not some of those one-off things. That sounds like a very interesting concept, though.
Yeah, that cart did so well that Tom told me that they outlawed it as soon as they figured out what was going on with it, and so they wouldn't allow it to be built anymore. But it had great feedback and great corner speed, because it really let everything give when it laid over on the tire, especially with the high horsepower stuff. So just
absolutely
interesting stuff that these people are willing to try and do and go after just to to get to that next level. So with the M5 HP, what's the difference between the H5 and the H5 MP? Or excuse me, the HP.
The M5 and the M5 HP. So yeah, it's a great question. So one of the primary differences is the brake placement, or the ability to do the center brake placement. That's one of the major adjustments. We have some of the stuff I'll discuss that's visible, that's obvious, is we do a curved seat bar in the front, so we can get that seat placement just a little bit forward compared to the the lower horsepower 4-stroke cars, because as you know, we run a little heavier motor packages and need to get the bounce in that car ironed out a little bit. And We have when you start getting to tubing thickness, that's where a lot of the variances come in. That's something that, I can't share all the details, but we have a little different thickness and placement of thicknesses in there that allows that forward bite to occur better than the four-stroke car, which actually, the four-stroke car keeps it free through the corner, so you get optimal speed to where we can get that forward bite in there when you lay that throttle back down. So those are some of the major differences. I'd say, we offer the bolt-on stuff is really just a change from, standard nerfs to wedge nerfs. And, you got big rear bumpers that accommodate wedge bodies better that, would fit either car actually.
Wow. That's all. Hey, have you thought about coming out to the BK one year? I mean, I'm sure you've heard about it.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I was plugged in the last few years on that event for sure. And, you mentioned Joe Stackman. He and I talk on a pretty regular basis or chat through, social media, whatever. And I mentioned to him this year when it was over that I'd love to put together a plan to try to get out there. And so we're going to keep talking about that. If I can get some equipment out there, I'll come out and maybe even ride. If not, I'll come out and, just support the show in some capacity.
Boy, that'd be awesome, man. We'd love to have you. It's a show like no other. I mean, it truly is. I mean, I know you've been to a lot of races and stuff, but this thing is, man, from the get-go, it's just been awesome. It's just been really awesome.
Yeah, it is a great event. We do have a lot of fun. It's a ton of fun in the winter. That's definitely what it is. And Stackman and I, we went to high school together, so
okay.
Certain soft spot in my heart for that guy. We were rivals. He had the Oldsmobile and I had the Buick, and we hammered it out. But good times there with the Iron Man. So with the HP, what all's involved with that package? Because comparing it to other packages, your guys's seems to have a bit more stuff in it. So can you kind of run down what all we get with an HP package?
Yeah, you bet. So, we talked about chassis design and I highlighted the brake package, but the things that really come standard on that car is, we got the standard square seat sliders, keeps that front seat from rolling over. We put a 6-bolt seat strut on the right rear, so it keeps that right rear from sliding over. I know some of the guys have been trying to get by with some 4-bolt stuff, and they had some sliding issues, especially because we have that motion left rear seat strut. So you want a little bit more solid placement on that right rear. We deliver it with a standard large brake rotor that Legend builds, and we put steel braided brake lines on that, and we deliver with a heavy duty sprocket hub. So we learned pretty quickly that these larger four-strokes like to break those thinner sprocket hubs in half, so we'll make sure we don't let that happen anymore. And we went to double locking wheel hubs on the rear with 5/16 studs around. If you want, we can still get quarter if you want them, but I prefer to send them with the larger studs just based on the higher horsepower. Some of the stuff that comes standard as well is we got a pretty unique clamshell rear cassettes that are hardened. I know some of the past carts I've dealt with as those things wear out and get sloppy. I've had some guys transfer these from cart to cart and keep them because they never wear out. They're hardened and they're just awesome. They stay free. They don't bind. You don't have to even put anti-seize in the bolts because they don't bind up ever. And they're just a really nice piece. We got the tilt steering wheel. And then as I alluded to, we put a standard throttle stop adjuster on there. And then we put a motor stop adjuster behind the motor as well. So you don't have that problem of trying to put a lock collar or something under that motor mount so it doesn't slide. So and then we moved to the newest design in the M5. You can actually do right side and left side lead adjustment, so it's pretty versatile to most racetracks.
Wow, that's awesome, man. That's really awesome.
I'm telling you, this thing comes set up, and there's two things in here that are so overlooked and so essential, and you kind of breezed right over them because I think everybody does. But the throttle stop adjustment, this is huge, and I can't tell you how many Tiltsons and Mukunis I've ruined because this isn't there, and this is highly underrated, and you guys are putting it on just a base model. And the other thing with the motor slide, keep the motor from sliding back. I've added this on every single one of my Legend chassis, welded it on myself because it's essential. It just, with the two-stroke stuff, I mean, it just doesn't happen without it. And, you don't see that on anybody else's chassis. It's not a big dollar thing. It's not something that's rocket science, but it's essential.
It is, because I remember telling Fowler, I was like, what are these guys doing? I've seen more chains fall off in one race than I ever seen in 30 years. I mean, it's like, good grief.
Yep.
Yeah, these two-strokes got a bit of grunt, and they wind up and they'll yard that stuff right back, or even the big four-strokes nowadays that we got, and so those
Absolutely.
Those two things are just so overlooked with the rest of the people and or chassis builders that I want to point out. It is something that most of them that are back east and the East Coast, they just don't see the kind of problems that the high horsepower stuff does to them. So it just, the rundown on the list of that is just awesome.
Hey, Jason, how many cars a year you put out?
We're not a high volume car shop right now. We get it kind of fluctuates a little
Sure.
bit, but it's anywhere from 5 to 10 or 12, depending on the year. So
Wow, okay.
We'd love to see it grow a little bit, but it's it's a pretty close, tight knit family in the M5 HP family right now. So
How about now yourself? Are you a UAS guy? Have you run anything UAS with the real big horsepower stuff on it?
I have, absolutely. I unfortunately didn't make the nationals the last couple of years, but I had attended prior to that, and I'm kind of setting up plans this year. If I can get the right motor package put together, I'm going to make that trip out to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
Oh, nice. Oh. And what are you looking at? You looking at a Jawa or a 450 or what?
It would be a modified 450. Absolutely.
Oh, nice.
So how many people out in this neck of the woods actually carries the Legends chassis?
Oh, there's one just down the street.
Yeah, so you guys got a dealer down the street that's newer to the Legend dealership. I think maybe a couple years now at Speed City, and
the Fullers.
And I think they posted all of the dealerships on the website last week, so you could go there and reference that and see
Sweet.
Who could help you out.
Well, they do you a good job.
Yeah,
Jason, for sure, man. They're hustlers and they get after it, so they're doing you a dang good job.
Yeah, Speed City's good people for sure. Then they have a large variety of stuff down there. So yeah, good people and great racers. So they are definitely doing you justice.
Good deal.
So going through some of your stats, I see that you actually are an IKF 2-cycle Grand National, huh?
Yeah, so that's, growing up, that was really kind of the major venue that we attended. So, I'm an expert in 2-cycle. I've won some 4-cycle classes as well and run some of the cage kart classes in the past and have a win in that. So, IKF is very popular around here. That's kind of what the main venue is at this point.
That's just, I just had to highlight that because it's just, it's hard to find anybody with the KT experience or is willing to run it. And one of the other things you alluded to that is got another soft spot for me is trail braking, and I am right there with you with the 2-stroke stuff. It's what keeps you up there in the front, and I do love the center brake. I am so looking forward to my next chassis. Because I am
Excellent.
guilty of that for sure. So
I got to tell a short story if you don't mind on the 2-cycle front. So we, when I was talking to Stackman prior to the BK race, he took it out the parking lot and sent a little video of, shaking that 250 down that he was going to run.
Yep, I saw that.
And so I sent him a note and I said, hammer down. I said, make sure you get that carb lean enough so you don't have to time the throttle. And he laughs. He sends me a message back and says, only a 2-stroke racer would know what time the throttle means. So
yeah, that's cool stuff, man. It's the little inside stuff that makes it really cool.
Absolutely.
For sure. So where do you see Legend Chassis in the next few years? What's your goal or the goal of the M5 Is there an M6
Yeah,
coming up, or?
Yeah, I've been put a little bit of thought to this, and there's nothing etched in stone, but there's that continuous improvement effort around the high horsepower chassis. I feel like we've got a baseline design here that's very versatile. It's forgiving on tracks. I know we haven't talked a lot about tires, but you guys all know that tires are critical. If you don't have the right tires, nothing works. But
Absolutely.
I feel like we got a pretty optimal frame design. It's just a lot around bolt-on components at this point. I do have a prototype floating around my head that I haven't really sat down and debriefed with Joel and that group yet. But somewhere in the near future, I'd like to draw that up and see if we can't even achieve a little bit better. But stay tuned on that, and we'll update you when it happens.
Well, I've always heard. I've heard a lot of people say, this is just, and this has not putting Legend down at all, but they said, man, the things they're so hard to get dialed in, and your answer to that would be what?
Yeah, I would say it depends on how far you go back. If you're riding some high horsepower stuff, if you're on the newer cars, I would say that's totally opposite of what it once was. We like I said, we hit a design here to where I'll have to say, I'm a little biased because it's a kart that I helped design, but being the person that's sitting behind the steering wheel, I'm awful picky about how easy the car is to drive, especially as I'm getting older. And this thing drives like a Cadillac. It's one of the easiest, smoothest cars to drive. It's forgiving in some spots. It's not really overly twitchy like we've seen some of the karts in the past. And the setup window is pretty wide. You might shave a little speed by not getting there, but you're not going to make the kart completely undrivable.
Right. Take yourself totally out. Yep.
What would you say the favorite tire of this chassis is, if it has one? Maybe it doesn't have one.
Yeah, it's the favorite tire.
He chuckles. I like that.
Yeah. I got him on the spot right now.
It's a loaded question because my favorite tire you can't buy anymore. So the thick rubber 800 Maxxis tires was always my tire of choice. So kind of the next in line, when you're starting to bolt that really high horsepower stuff on, is anything you can get it probably doesn't. This is just tire advice to any chassis. Is the little bit more thicker rubber patch you're going to get, the better off you're going to be on the second half of that 20 lap or 25 lap race. So, if you can get the right chemicals in it and all that, it's just going to be a better tire. So right now, I would have to say that you can bolt on a good set of Vegas, you can bolt on a good set of Hoosiers. We've had some really good luck with some Burris on the really, really low bite. So we've had success in pretty much of all the majors, if you will.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I've noticed less and less people cutting tires, going back to the same thing you just said about thick rubber.
Yep.
Less and less people are cutting tires, and they're more or less just scuffing them because nobody wants to give up any rubber. So, and for me, being a Burris guy for years and years and years, and still love them, tried my first set of Hoosiers at the BK. Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Just so comfy on those. My prep game came up a little bit, but I got to give most of the credit to the Hoosiers. It was just an amazing ride. So I'm looking forward to some more of that and trying them out. So if other than Speed City in our local area, if anybody else is looking to get a hold of the HPs, is there any one person? Are you the guy, or where does one go to find out more about this?
Yeah, I would love to have you call me. Look me up on Facebook. I have a JSpeed Karting Facebook page that's, I don't post a lot of information, but it has all my contact information there. And, if you look at the Legend resources, my contact information is there as well. So I'd love to have you give me a call. It's always willing to talk racing. Bench racing's fun, whether we find a solution for you or not. I'd love to hear what you're doing. So give me a ring or send me a message and we can chat.
Definitely, and he's always available, folks. This guy never sleeps, ever. So
you sleep when you're dead. That's
right.
So yeah, if you got questions or needs or wants, hit him up. The M5 HP portion of Legend Chassis is Jason. So look him up, and we really appreciate it. You're rounding out our month, and we enjoyed it.
All right, gentlemen. Thanks for the time, and have a good evening.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Jason Lindgren, what a good guy, man. That sounds like the guy I want to talk to, for sure. And we'll be back right after this. I got to get these ads in, so we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Word Racing now has a brand new location in Clackamas, Oregon at 15648 Southeast 114th Avenue, Suite 110, next to Highway 212 and conveniently located close to the I-205 freeway. They have what you need to race fast and race safe with product lines like ZAMP, Z-Tech, Pyrotech, RipTech, Armadillo, and a 360 Plus device. And that's not all. Chains, wheels, tires, lubricants, and the Northwest distributor for the innovative and made-in-America iCart chassis and a new X125 engine. New or used, arrive and drive, coaching and tuning. Word Racing's got you covered from start to finish. You're winning trackside support since 2007. For more information, call 503-869-4970 or check them out on Facebook and on the web at wordracing.com.
You check your shop list, you check off things on your racing to-do list, and you constantly check your micron at the racetrack. But what about when that little check engine light comes on in your car, truck, or tow vehicle? Do you check that or just ignore it? Most can't be bothered, but there is nothing worse than breaking down on the way to a big race or vacation getaway. It's time to start treating and checking your car, truck, or tow rig the right way with a visit to True Tech Automotive for a preventative maintenance service before it costs you more than that big race or vacation getaway you're looking forward to. With 10 service bays, NAPA-certified car care technicians, along with award-winning customer service, TrueTech gives you one less thing you have to check.
Get it done right, the first time with the right parts at the right price. And how's this for right? Use the discount code NWRR and receive TrueTech's In the Family Racer discount of 25% off all preventative maintenance and vehicle repairs. Just another way, TrueTech has been helping their customers keep their vehicles in check since 2008. TrueTech Automotive, 6900 Highway 99, Suite A, Vancouver, Washington. Open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 360-571-2302. All right, Lip, you got something?
Well, yeah, I just wanted to chime in a little bit and say, hey, we just finished our month. This is what we were going to do. If you guys want me to keep going on this and keep going after some more manufacturers, chime in. Otherwise, we're going to go on to something else and start doing it. But if you want me to keep going with this a little bit, chime in and let me know about it, and I'll get after some more. I've got 4 or 5 more on a list. I could easily do another month, but if you guys are over it, we'll be over it. But
we had some really great chassis builders. I mean, these guys they're not they're not the Ultramax or the Phantom deals, but these are good solid go-kart chassis. You can't go wrong getting them.
Yeah, but that's what I would rather, when they're offering to help you. That means so much.
It does.
Yeah.
And I truly believe everybody that we talk to is genuine when they say you're going to get help. And that's really what a car, especially when you got a new ride, there's a lot of, it's not just bolted on and go. A good go-kart, let's face it, that's going to make you faster automatically, but trying to split those hairs when you get there, that's when you really need the help. Yeah. And these guys are going to give it to you, I think. Lippy did a great job of getting some really good cars that maybe you've heard of but haven't heard a lot about. And so great job, Lippy, on that. That was marvelous for sure.
Hey, and back to the tire deal, it's kind of I don't mean to step backwards here on this, but Sean just sent me this link, and it's to Joe's Racing Products. And Joe's is now manufacturing a long-hosed inflator, deflator, all-in-one unit. Very neat looking unit. It lets you fill your tires, check the pressure, and release the excess pressure all in one tool and right in your hand. So you'll be able to step away from your tire, air it up, and you can keep checking it because it's got the gauge and stuff on it, and then you can release.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, it allows you to step away from.
So maybe what we ought to do is I'll go to Joe's, get a picture of it, post it on there. But, hey, let me just say, a lot of people don't know, Joe's they do a lot of mainly big car stuff, but he's a go-karter at heart. I mean,
Well, they race at Deming.
You bet. And they raced at the indoor in Oakwood. He's been at several deals. Yeah, that's a neat-looking tool. Maybe if you can share that, just share it to the NWRR page. We'll get Jeff to share that, and you guys go to the Northwest Race Report Facebook page, and I'm going to tell you, it's pretty cool. It's really cool. Everybody should probably have one of these just to stay safe.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, indeed. And I got to give a big shout out, Clark Family Racing and Word Racing for sponsoring the show, and of course Blue Line Graphics. Just appreciate their help so much. It just keeps the show rolling on. So really, really, really appreciate what you guys do.
All good people, and would love to hang out with any of them.
Absolutely.
I don't know. After watching Heather's video the other day trying to put on her makeup. Well, the assistants.
Well, I'll know if I don't get a payment here in the next month. I'll know what happened, Jeffrey. No, I'm just kidding. So the American Muscle Car Excellence Awards, which we were going to start ahead of time, and chime in if you know these people, but the Unselfish Service Award for 2017 went to Carolyn High. I don't know. I think that's. I don't know Carolyn other than from the couple times we've been down there at Phoenix, and she's been outstanding both times I've been there. Sportsman of the Year, and that is a non-driver. Yours truly got that here last year. Yes, indeed. But Gil Atkinson.
Oh, cool.
Which I would say is definitely a plus there. Best appearing team went to Eric Grease and Brett Messler. Best innovator of the year, Dr. Stephen Gleason for the PK 250. That's pretty much for sure, definitely deserving. The PK 250, Jeff, is like what Diotti runs.
Oh,
he runs the 270, but he's the guy that developed all that. And he's a NASCAR guru of some sort. I don't know if he's a tire guy or he works in one of the engine shops, but he's a NASCAR guy. But so Dr. Stephen Gleason for the PK 250 is the innovator of the year. The traveling ambassador goes to Renee Angel. I would say that's probably
accurate.
Well suited. Yes, well accurate.
Yeah.
This one, I was excited over this one. Most improved driver, and I've got to say from day one when he got his UAS cart, this guy never drove over his head. This guy never did anything that you wouldn't expect. The most improved driver for 2017 for the American Muscle Carts and the UAS is Rusty King.
Came a long ways.
A long ways.
From clone carts to stepping into that, I mean, the learning curve, and he drove his way through it.
Lippy, I remember the first day he ran was at Albany, which isn't an easy track anyway.
Mm-mm.
And the guy never drove over his head. You know, he could have, but he didn't. And he respected the leaders. He just did everything right. And so congratulations to Rusty King. That's really, really well deserved. I mean, really well deserved. And the Racer Sportsman of the Year is Scott Boley.
Good guy.
Great guy.
Yeah.
So I think they did a great job. You know, you left when I stepped out, but Sportsman of the Year non-driver went to Gil Atkinson.
Yeah, there's another one, you know, that is an unsung hero out here, stepping up to be our West Coast UAS guy. Great for our sport. We stole him from the East Coast. He came out here. We made him a Westerner, and we're so glad to have him. He adds a lot to our curriculum and moved the bar up another rung for sure.
Absolutely.
We should name some of his drivers who have been and is
Fernandez, Ryan.
Yep, and Wallace.
Derek Wallace.
Another one of them. Both of them are great drivers, definitely deserving of rides. So.
Well, now is Rusty's kid the one that's the junior?
Yes.
Okay.
James King. Yes.
Yeah, that's what the Rocket just put down. I had to start thinking. I was thinking.
Yes. So he, not only did he do his own thing, but he was crewing for his son, making sure he was out there. So I mean, and if you've never done that, that's a bunch of work. I mean, that is a ton of work, especially running a UAS cart, and then you're trying to get your kid dialed in, whatever. I mean, just that was an excellent choice for that, for sure. And
definitely.
so, I understand the Rockets got a busy season coming up. They're going to be making a few trips back east, I think, and doing some stuff back there to get ready for the Grand. So the Rockets wanting the title bad.
Rocket deserves a title.
He does, for sure.
Well, now, do you got quarter point races at your?
Yes, we have. We have. Well, I don't. We have 3 of his races at our track this summer. Our tracks that we're going to be running out this.
Where's
summer.
the schedule? I haven't seen it.
It was out. I seen it come by today, and I forgot to write it down.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we haven't posted ours up yet because I'm still disgruntled. I'll be honest with you on that one. Ronnie's been calling me and more than willing to run at our events, and we appreciate that. But I'll be honest with you right now. We have 4 volunteers. We lost several over the last summer, winter, whatever you want to call it. So we have 4 volunteers to put on races this summer that we realistically need 10 volunteers. So we are avidly searching for 6 people that can commit to us, not just an hour or 2 a day. We need people that can give us the whole day. And in order to make our thing go, we've stepped up this year. We're going into facilities that basically people are going to come in and unlock the gate, and that's it. We collect the gate, we collect the camping, we register the races, we do the races, we do everything. And so not only did we take a big hit and people stepped away from us, we took on a lot more responsibility. So quite frankly, we need people to make this all happen now. So I know Rusty, my nephew, put up something on our website last night, stating that we need people. Ronnie was kind enough to put something up with his schedule that said we need people, and that is very, very true. We need people. So step up, if you can, and this is the problem. We're getting real right now. This is the problem. Clubs like us put up this stuff. We need people, and people start typing in, "Oh yeah, I'll help out. Oh yeah, I'll help out," and then they are nowhere to be found on race day, and that is not going to make it work. That is going to make me pull the plug on it because we can't do it. If you can step up and commit to it, then please do. If you can't, then don't say anything, because if you do say you're gonna, then we're going to be counting on that, because that's how borderline we are. One of my all-time supporters who was president just before I took over was Wayne Thompson. He's a great supporter. He's going to be vacant and not around for our first race, which is a 3-day race. And so we go down to 3 volunteers on that weekend. So
in other words, we got to get some volunteers for the Cascade Karting Association. That's just all there is to it.
That's all there is to it.
That's all there is to it. So if you can help out and seriously help out, serious inquiries only. Don't just, we don't need BS. We need people to step up and
we need everything from corner workers, grid workers, with haven't secured a flagger this year. Just the whole gamut. We lost our lead scorer that hand scores. Yes, we have an electrical system, but we always like to keep it backed up with a good hand scorer. We lost our good hand scorer from last year, so we are in desperate need of more help.
So it looks like Ronnie puts on their stuff ships out to Pennsylvania on Monday. And the first PA Maxxis race is April 21st.
I didn't know if I was going to be able to say that. I'm glad to see that he stepped up and said that. Yeah, I mean, this is a big step for him. He's loading his stuff up, and he is...
Well, you know what? There becomes a time when you gotta
take the chance.
Shut up or get off the pot, I mean, and that's what he's doing. He's putting it all out there. I mean, eventually that's what you got to do.
Take a chance and go.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And, as great as Uncle Chuck is, I mean, like Ronnie said, he wants to win one for Uncle Chuck probably more than for himself. Uncle Chuck wants one bad, and boy, and deservingly so.
That's just going to say,
deservingly so.
He deserves it.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's why they're heading out there. The between the two of them, they put together a hell of a team. So I think all of the bad luck that could ever happen has happened over the last 2 years. So
yeah, sooner or later, it's got to start going the other way.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, golly.
Yeah, I know. You couldn't have got any worse luck than... I was just sick when I saw that panel flapping because I said, I knew what they were going to do, and it was just like,
yeah,
Lord Almighty, all that, and you get 5 laps or whatever. It's just disgusting, actually. But
yep. So,
but Rocket's not a quitter, man, and he's gonna get one. I mean,
him and our Uncle Chuck are quitters. So I'm glad to see they're heading back there. And that is. I'm trying to think of the proper term for this other than big. I'm not going to say it. This is huge to go back to somebody else's playground on the other side of the coast. You haven't seen anybody over here try and do this before. So this takes some kahunas to...
Yeah, and it's not a national thing. I mean, he's doing it for the Nationals, but yeah, you haven't seen too many guys go back there just to...
Right.
Get warmed up and tune up. So it's a big investment, as well. I mean, you got airfare and getting the stuff back there, and then you got, it's a huge investment.
We see those people from the East Coast make their way out here. The 3 guys from Florida that made their way out to Arizona,
The dog pound, yeah.
Yeah,
And so, you know what? The next week, they were up in Pennsylvania racing somewhere. I mean, those guys, you talk about diehards.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
So put a little prayer together if you can, whatever you can do, help out the Rocket. He's making a big step.
For sure. I'm sure anything will help.
Making it happen.
Yeah, for sure. That being said, Arizona wasn't bad luck. That was on us. Pound details.
I wouldn't
say that all the way, but...
the only thing I would say is I'd have ran into that wall hard
and broke that thing off and just yeah.
That's the only thing I learned from that whole experience, Ronnie. I know what to do now.
Yeah, absolutely.
If it's a flopping, we're a knocking.
For sure.
So, and we haven't talked much about this, but Ernie Confer has really gotten the UAS hooked up. They're running with a. That quad, Ernie, post that up here if you can, but back east they've got a big quad deal that runs there, and they race quads, and it's a flat track deal. And the UAS is going to be a part of that show on Friday nights back there. Well, flat track gets a big audience, as you saw at the one at Salem. And so for the UAS to be sitting there prime, man, I mean, you talk about some exposure now. That's going to be really off the chain for the UAS, and especially because they're running the motorcycle motors and stuff now, the Jawas and the 450s. So those people can relate, and we might not have otherwise gotten there. But Ernie Confer has done a great job, and they're in for the year. They're going to be like their undercard. I mean, what a better they better watch out because the UAS might put on a better show than those flat track. I mean, you just never know. So,
Well, the UAS puts on a great show. I mean, it
is a good show.
And I think once they get used to what the facilities are, hang on.
Yep, I agree. I couldn't agree more. All I know is I really want to get back there bad. Somehow, some way, I'm going to find a way to do it. But, because that would be that would be awesome. Because I know Ernie said we're covered for our rooms and stuff. I mean, we can stay with them, whatever. So really, we just got to get back there.
Well, you can get in Rocket's.
Yeah, right in his container, right? Well, maybe I can carry his suitcases for him. Yes, sir, Ronnie, sir. Yes, sir, Rocket. I'll carry your bag, sir. Yes, sir.
Shoe shine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Uncle Chuck, I'll get your shoes. Yeah, I'll shine them.
That's not beneath us.
Oops.
It's called the New East Extreme Dirt Series.
Nice.
Yes. So that is good stuff for the UAS.
Yes, it is.
Ernie says, "Bring it, TB." Maybe he wants his shoes.
I'll get them for you, Ernie, sir.
It's buff and a shine.
Yeah, that's it. Buff and a shine. That's right, baby.
Oh, gosh. The wheels are wobbling.
Yep. First liar don't stand a chance around here. But, yeah, go to the PA Maxis Series page on Facebook if you want to check out more about the series that Rocket and Uncle Chuck are going to be attending to get tuned up for those grounds. I think they're going back a couple times.
Yeah, I think so too.
Thing.
Yeah, I think they're gonna test at least once or twice.
Yeah,
so they're serious about it. They are serious.
Yep. The only thing that's bad is I think I wish there was a way the UAS could just incorporate somehow to help the defending champ get back so they could defend. Right? I mean, that's a tough deal when you win it out here, and then you don't get a chance to go defend because maybe it's long gone somewhere else. I wish they could get something that would help the champ be able to get back, and even if it was some help to get back and be able to defend the title, I think that would be a sweet deal. Because it's a bummer when you go back the next year and the defending champ isn't even there. So I don't know. Maybe there's a way, but we just don't know it yet.
That and then the muscle cart cover that he's got. That's a sweet looking
cover.
Did
you see that? The Titan Tim Lawrence on the cover of the
muscle cart.
Yeah.
Then down in the corner showed a little deal with Mr. Stackman. He's got muscle cart.
4 to 5 times Rocket says they're going back.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't want to let the cat out of the bag, but Ronnie is now. So, yeah, they're definitely going back. They're definitely serious about this. They're going to hit a few races back there and a couple at that track. So they want to be in line and prepped up and have their stuff in line. They're not going to show up on the weekend and practice on Friday and race that day.
Well, here's what I know. Here's what I do know.
They is serious.
They're going to get and I don't mean in a bad way, but they're going to get a serious lesson just in everything. Tires and setup and
you're
going back there to the breeding ground of all this. And man, God, if you go back there with your eyes and ears open and your mouth shut, you're going to just be dialed getting the information. I mean,
Ronnie's tire guy is that the track that they're racing at is Ronnie's tire guy's home track. So the guy that's been feeding Ronnie all of his good tire help actually runs out of that track. So that's where his deal came from, and I probably just let him out of the bag right there. But that's the race in the hole. This guy.
I guarantee he ain't gonna get no tire help when Ronnie shows up if he's running.
So, no, and that's what this guy does is tires. So, Ronnie's going back and hanging out with him and getting his tires done and getting his information and help from that guy. And that's really what it takes for us to make the trip back there. Us, I say that, meaning that my hopes are put on him to represent well. But, he's got a great deal going. He's fed it, he's watered it, it's growing now, and he's going to make it happen. So
I think it's awesome. I wish more teams could afford to go back there and do that. I just think it would make the U.S. that much stronger. But like I said, I've always said we're just a little help away from this thing blowing up. I mean, truly, it's that good. At least in my opinion.
Definitely.
I mean, I am a UAS supporter all the way, without a doubt. But it says, race at Paradise Rocket, don't be a wussy. We're going to go real fast, buddy. Well, you're going to find out, Ernie Confer. The Rocket ain't no wussy, baby. He can bring it.
He ain't afraid to stand on that loud pedal. So I talked about this week before last, and I'm going to hit on it again because this is a real hot topic that I may spend some time on next week before I get back into my chassis deal. But those of you that don't know, Venom Juice is my tire treatment. That is my tire treatment of choice. I don't put that out there a lot, but I am now, and this is the reason why. Armor All Wall. So just look up Venom Juice and Armor All Wall technology. This is something that Venom Juices came up with. It's an inside treatment. It's a tire treatment. It isn't necessarily something that it's about longevity. So it's already been banned in 3 different series. So
what has?
This tire treatment. So look it up.
Why has it been banned? How can you ban a tire treatment, for God's sake?
Exactly. But it works that well. So look it up. Kevin, who runs Venom Juice, Kevin Bishop.
Get him on the show. Get him on the show.
I can probably set that up.
Get him on the show. Get him. Can you get him for next week?
I will work it now.
All right, get him on the show. Let's get this out there because that's ridiculous. That's not good.
Yeah. So he put something out there that is something that basically helps us out. It makes stuff last longer. It's not necessarily a end-all, cure-all. It's something that definitely works.
Stay tuned. We're going to work hard, people, so you don't want to miss this next week. We're going to tune in. We're going to try to get him on the show for next week for sure. So we'll keep you posted on that. Wow. It's 8 o'clock already.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Been a good night.
It has been a good night. Hopefully everybody that's been running the
iCart series,
is having a good time. Hey, I hope you wanted a Squinia, and that's kind of a neat deal. Hey, did you see the seat thing I had on there?
Yeah.
How trick is that?
Yeah, it definitely looks like you don't want to eat a lot before you get on that.
Yeah. But it looks very, very, very well. You know what?
It's like a
I think when you're in the seat, I don't think it's going to feel quite like that. I mean, looking at it from the outside, yes, I can see where you could say, yeah, no way. But I think when you're in the seat there, it's one of those things where that I don't know. Maybe just to me, I think it's a little bit different. But I could be wrong. You're right. You could be Ralphing all over everything, but.
Just the evolution of
Can
that
you imagine?
whole thing.
I know. That's the thing.
It's crazy how it has evolved into what it is now and how realistic it is.
Absolutely it is.
So, yeah. And look, Brian says 2 weeks. What does he say? I haven't won in the last 2 nights. He's trying though. I haven't made the step yet. I don't have anything, so I'm not going to do the iCart. It's just
well, that's a whole different deal. I mean, I used to play when Papyrus came out with the NASCAR 99 and all that NASCAR whatever, and it was super real for back then. But let me just say, if you took the brake help off, man, those things were like undrivable. I mean, I don't even know how anybody was driving them. I mean, it was actually just nuts. But yeah, it just takes time. It's like anything, and the wheels have evolved, and I mean, I've still got a Thrustmaster wheel and everything. You know what? I'll hook it up so next week you can run Portland Speedway and you'll enjoy it. It is actually really cool.
I don't need another addiction. No thanks.
Well, I have it. You won't have to worry about it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's got the addiction. You just.
Yeah, you'll feed my addiction.
I'll just be the dealer.
Next thing you know, I'll be moving the TV into Yeah, never mind. I'm just not going there. You got to at least try it once. I got enough on my plate.
Yeah. 6 to 8 rocket. It's like finger pointing away to the moon. Don't concentrate on the finger, or you will miss all that heavenly glory. I guess I missed that one, but
yeah, you must have.
Yeah, it sounds like they did. So hopefully we're not. Galen and Carla got me busy on some fun stuff. Yeah, I'll bet. So what were you saying? Our stuff isn't fun? Is that what you're saying?
We're going there next. As soon as we sign off, we're going over.
Yeah.
We're going to come crashing into your guys' party.
Yeah. So Ronnie says, don't do it, Lip.
I'm not. I can't.
Don't do it, Lip.
Yeah, it says the guy who's ordering a new computer because his won't keep up. So.
Oh, is that Rockets doing that? Yeah, I know, right?
No, I'm just not.
Yeah. Well, hopefully everybody had a good time doing that. Super stuff. I don't have any races coming up, honestly. I know the May 18th and 19th at Medford. That's the next big one.
Yeah.
If you own a KT, you need to come to that because that's where we're going to find out who's the fastest KT on the West Coast. At least the ones that show up here.
And anybody from up here that wants to go down there, I'm making the trip. Doesn't look like Rusty's going to be able to make it with me, so I'll have some trailer space and looking to partner up. So I'll be heading down myself.
Right. Hey, Esquinia, I want you to find out from them how they heard about Blue Line Graphics, because I'm going to assure you they heard it from the Northwest Race Report. I'm banking on it. So
had to been
just remember that, baby.
Shane.
What?
Smith.
Well, of course, but they've been. I mean, Shane was here. That's how he knew about it.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah. So
May 5th, UAS Spokane.
All right, May 5th. Good deal. That's going to be awesome. I don't know. I gotta do. I might be putting in. I might be at McMinnville doing the Gold Cup. I don't know. They asked for a bid, so we'll find out.
Crumb, he says. Are they running KTs over there?
Crumb. Yeah. Right. Well, where did Crumb hear it from? Yeah. Who's did he say Crumb? Really? Wow.
Crumb came from here.
You bet he did.
All right.
All right. Well, we're not gonna get credit from that anyway, so that's all right.
We're bumping up against it.
Yep, we are. Hey, everybody, appreciate you being on. Just appreciate all the help, all the support. We'll be back next Wednesday. Don't forget, we're gonna be trying to get Kevin from Venom.
Yep, Venom Juice.
And we'll be talking about how they got banned and whatever. So stay tuned. We'll keep you posted on that. And thanks a lot for tuning in. If you are racing somewhere next week or this weekend, good luck. I know what's coming up. The big open wheel show at Yakima on the 1st of April. Ooh. So that's going to be coming up.
First weekend in April.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's going to be awesome. Devin Borden going to be there driving a 360. I think I'm going to scoot over and check that out.
Wow.
I know. That'd be cool to see him roll that. So that's what's coming up here very shortly. But I've got some schedules from the Can-Am Challenge Series. I've got the Idaho stuff. I'll get posted up. So you can go to the Northwest Race Report Facebook page. Or you can go to the TerryBridgesRacing.com. As soon as I get my site all squared away, we'll be there and we'll have schedules and stuff up there for you. So looking forward to it. Thanks a lot, everybody. We'll see you next week, 6:30, right here at the Northwest Race Report. And when somebody's on the bottom, Lippy, what do you got to do?
Hit the high side.
Hit the high side, folks. Both in life and on the racetrack. We love you. Thanks a lot, everybody.